Hello guys, it's Alex here, and today we're gonna try to do a guide about gear for DC Worlds Collide. I'm not claiming I know everything. I know this is an issue, a subject that I was very interested in a couple of months after starting the game, and I was very confused, and I think I figured out some good gear recommendations. Also, what I would recommend if you want to build a new character, for example, you want to build this team, and this team maybe isn't the best example, but like let's say Pandora, and you don't know where to start, you can just go here on your Elite Arena and check the first 5 people what they have. So if I look here, does he have her? He doesn't. So maybe this is an indication that those are not the best characters to build if they don't have them here. Here you see speed on Pandora, and it looks like we want attack bonus, so maybe speed and attack. Let's see here. No Pandora. You can keep scrolling after that. It's I'm just saying the first people because after a while people don't really know what they're doing, especially if you're in an early Elite Arena. Like they have them as a healer and speed. So you see 2 people with speed. Speed is the indicator that you want to use her as speed. Let's see, can we find another Pandora just to drive the point home? Let's give this example with Wonder Woman. What to do with Wonder Woman? So you see here Wonder Woman, crit and speed. Damage, crit, and you see this is for crit. Okay. Damage and crit, so you definitely want to crit and maybe a speed and or damage. So that's a good indicator to just go here and scroll and see what people have in common, and maybe you can experiment with what they have if it's like this, or maybe like they have here. Let me see. So you check here, you see block. I don't know why block in her. I am not super familiar with the kit. And health question mark. So first let's talk about like the type of gear. You start with a very basic. I think I have equipped one here just for. So if you start here, this as you see is very cheap. It only takes 840 to finish. Then you have the basic purple. I don't have them everything called. Let's see if they will give me here. No, they don't. Let's go here again. So if you put a purple, this is with one little diamond. This is to max out takes 7,500, so a lot more. Let's put this, which is the most expensive epic gear. This I spent 33,000 and I only reached it to level 10. So as you go, or let's go like purple here at level 2. This with 33,000 will reach you level 15. So, or if you go like here level 1, this with 33,000 you can max out and it's 30,000. So as you go they become more and more expensive, but you can use the older gear, so you never completely lose those little how's it called? Let's see. What's here? The equipment enhancement parts. You don't lose them completely, but you lose the gold that you spend every time let's say I'm not gonna do anything very stupid here, but let's say I want to stop using this. I want to use this, which is a little bit stronger. I can use this piece here and it brings me to level 5 if I wanted to. So you aren't losing the where they are, you just lose the gold. It's 132,000 gold. So every time you move you use gear to fit into a different gear, a stronger one maybe, you are paying a gold. So and because gear is getting more and more expensive, as I showed, and then as you start moving towards epic gear, like the color here, especially with the little diamonds on them. Let's also put one that's level 1, just so you see the difference. So this is the basic, this is a little bit stronger, this is a little bit stronger, this is a little bit stronger, but all of them are more expensive. Here you have one with a little diamond and one without. Before the blue, I think you have a green one, and before that a one without color, like white behind. So as you're moving up, you get more and more stats. As you see, this has 2 stats, and then you have a 4, and here you have 3. Some of them are random. Here on those 2 spots, the first stat, like where it says attack bonus, is always random. So here it might be attack bonus, attack, HP, can be HP bonus, or, and this one the same. And the other 4 have the 4th different. So here with the purple gear, they don't have 4, so they're all the same. But if you go into epic gear, they're more expensive. They're more expensive, but and they also have the 4th that is random every time. So here is the speed, HP bonus, crit resistance, crit, block break, and you select the one that's better for the character that you're building, in the way you're building them around the team. One little trick here, because it took me a long time to find this. Want to remove all equipment? Yes. So you can remove this from old characters and then use it to enhance a different gear. So you're not stuck with characters like this and having gear on them. So as I said, let's also show it. So this gives you 223 attacks and it's already level 2. This gives you 522. Then you have this gives you 618 and it goes to level 20, so it's a lot more expensive, but it will keep giving you attack. And then you go here, gives you 735. So the base stat are bigger, they take more levels, and if you want to be very careful with gear and very calculated, you want to have a lot of every gear until you get the 4th like where it says block here, the 4th stat that you would love on your character, or here the 1st stat. So attack bonus, generally speaking, let's show this in practice, is a lot stronger than attack. So if you swap here, this is at level 11, this is 16. Yes, level 3, but the 16 is at higher level. So one is attack bonus, one is attack. Let's put attack on him. His attack moved down, how much? 5,500. Because attack bonus, generally speaking, is stronger as you have a higher level in your characters. Or HP bonus than HP. You see here I'm keeping the level 1 because it's HP bonus, or something that's rare like this crit that you really want on Wonder Woman. Maybe you want to keep this until you find the level 3. crit, which my understanding is now it's the last in the game, and I haven't heard anything about their planning. But they will sure at some point bring out next gear. Maybe not so soon though. Maybe in 6 months. We don't know. Hope the game survives up to that. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. I think I made it very clear what the that you can move around gear, you can invest in early gear to experiment, but after a while the gear becoming more and more expensive, take more pieces and more gold, so you want to be a little bit more careful, maybe pull a few times those to find stuff that you like, and then start building them. Also this gear here, usually the defense is very low, so if you see here it gives him like 2,500 defense only, and this gives him at the same level 19,500 HP plus 5% HP bonus, which is probably more, or it's definitely a lot more than 20,000. Gives you the total gear. So 2,500, more than 20,000, end block, which is a nice stat than armor piercing in, especially in the tank. Depends, and I think it's not. Let's see, it's always block. Yes, the last one is different. So those are not really worth pushing unless you really want the fourth stat. They're not worth the same investment than those here. So and let's see where you can find gear. So you can first of all, as you see, it gives you some gear here. This gives you some gear after some time. You can buy gear here, but it's not worth it at all. Never buy gear from here. Here you can buy a lot of gear, and you unlock, as you move up the levels, you unlock better and better gear. Always buy this because you will be lowered. This so that says sold out. And here you can also buy gear, but you can buy other stuff that are more like characters arts. Yeah, and you can get only from here Evil Falls, like this one here. You get some gear if you push this at a higher level, but I don't think I can now. You will get a little bit of gear here, plus there is some gear in system recovery. I think that's all. So the third here, if you clear this in 5 turns, you will get this 3 diamond epic gear. That's kind of rare. So I think those are the spots where you find gear. And let's talk about specific characters that I have built and try to give some recommendations or some arguments. I'm not gonna go into every character. I'm not the biggest well in the game. I actually haven't spent at all at the moment. I'm kind of waiting for global launch and for it to be available in my country, and I don't want to do weird things with VPN that you can if you want to spend now, but I'm not the one to give you I haven't done it, so I don't know how to explain it, how to do it. So Wonder Woman, and generally speaking, when you are looking at a new character, you want to look at their kits or a character that you want to build. So if you see here, burn is based on attack, so maybe attack. Damage with attack, puts out stacks of burn. A lot of things I see with burn, and burn's damage, as it writes here, is based on attack. So I would do 4 attack on him. It's the first I'm gonna try. Maybe you see, generally speaking, heal are terrible. No one uses heal, or very few characters. Like Kid Flash, and even Kid Flash, I don't think it's the best. For him, generally speaking, heal is bad because it just gives you a heal crit, which is a chance that he you have a small chance that your heal, I think it gives in some, yeah, here he has 7% heal crit. So if, let's see also here, heal crit 7%. So if he heals with heal crit, he will heal 5% more. If you have the 10% healer, he will heal 15% more. So in the, you have a 7% chance. I don't know if it's higher the base, and I don't really care. The base heal crit chance. I think it's not. So you have a 7% chance that you're gonna heal for 15% more. It's not really worth it. Like, just make him, give him speed so he heals more often, and give him attack because his heal is based on attack, so his heals will be more impactful as he's doing them. So generally speaking, healer is not really good. Let's start going into characters. So like Wonder Woman, and it's something also that you look here. She has something in her kit that says if the damage crits, there's a 25% of applying stun, which is very nice, and goes to 40% when you have her at rank 10. Here, if the damage crits, has a 60% chance of inflicting silence, which is like an ability block. And it goes to 100% at level 3, I think level 8 or 9. I have her at that, of stars. When she has crit, she gets damage reduction. So she gets a lot of stuff with crit. Nightwing, he gets on his kit, he gains some block chance here, but besides that, here is very important. If the damage is blocked, the chance of taking increases to 60%. So when he blocks, he does retaliate damage almost, and he gains some block from here. So he has block in his kit or here, and you have them together. When someone in your team blocks, it raises your whole team's attack stat, which is very nice. So if you have him with Nightwing, you have to have both block. So generally speaking, that's how you want to, or if you do something interesting like this one here, which goes off every 2 turns, like support, generally speaking, you want to have speed on them, because she grants all allies like a strong attack, which she does a little bit, the allies do a little bit more damage, and frantic, which they can crit more, and with crit she also gives a drain. And here the spell also gives frantic like a chance for crit to the ally with the second highest attack. So you have people, the other 2 damage dealers besides her, or the 2 biggest damage dealers in the team, that can crit, and if they crit, if they have a crit chance here, if they are frantic, they gain a lot of drain. So you want her to go fast, to keep giving out strong attacks and frantics. Yeah, and she does a little bit more basic attacks that heal her up a little bit because she has drain, or him. This heals every 2 turns, so you want him to take more turns so he can heal people. So you kinda want to have speed for those reasons. Let's go into specific characters though. So as I said, she has a lot of crit in her kit. I like speed with her because my understanding with speed is that you take a little bit more turns or faster, so you can ult faster or a little bit more. You can ult a little bit faster and a little bit more. So you kinda want Wonder Woman to go fast because first of all she can put a silence on someone and stop someone else from having an ability go off. So for example, there can be a Wonder Woman on the opposing side on the front row now, and you put her on the opposite side of her, you have more speed than her, you put silence on the opponent's Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman cannot use her ultimate. So because she can go a little bit faster, she can stop someone from using an ability, that's nice. she takes a little bit more turns to does a little bit more of her basic and super advanced attack. So she can drain up a little bit more, and you can use a little bit more ultimates on her team. So that are the reasons that I have her as a, or because you are doing with speed, you are getting 5 characters to use their basic, then you can use an ultimate attack, and maybe you can use your ultimate attack before the opponents and stun someone that was going to use their ultimate attack. So I kinda like speed on her. People say that if you have her at level 30, which will give also action bar, so like speed bar, they will all her teammates will do more basic and advanced attacks if they do damage or whatever they do. So maybe if you have this, speed will become less of an issue. But even then, I'm just thinking like you're facing a Zatanna with the same thing, and both will do the same thing. So it's again based on the speed of your individual characters who will get an ability of faster or put a silence on the opponents faster. So you could also do damage. Here you kinda want crit and maybe attack bonus because it is more impactful than attack, and here you want crit. Everything that's crit here. This cannot gain crit, this cannot be crit, and block break is nice on her. It's probably the best. This or HP bonus, but I think block break is the best because she's facing in elite arena against cards that block, so you have block break. Also to take into account when you put in gear, you want to take a look at this and what it does, both with abilities, and here it puts for every crit rate, for every crit that you have, crit chance, it also gives you the same crit damage. As a side note here, this only stops at 80%. I've read on their official Discord that they don't have it here in the kit, but it stops at 80%. So maybe if you have her more than 80%, because she also gains frantic by herself and by Zatanna, she will gain more than one. She will always have basically more than 100% crit chance, and the crit damage will stop at 80% at level 3 and at level 2 at 40%. So for 40% it will give you the half, I think. So 20% it will give you. But there's another reason to put crit on her. But maybe if you have a lot of crit, because those at level 3 will give a little bit more crit than 7%. This is 9. And something like this can go up to 25% crit. Maybe you can even be able to have only 2 crits on her. And here says, if you see here, crit set times 2 gives her 5%, and crit set times 4 gives her another 10%, so 15%, which is very nice. And you have speed, maybe you can do damage, just so she does a little bit more damage, but I think that's about it that you can do on Wonder Woman. Yes, some people have her in the front row. You can make a bad argument about health, but I think you just want to have damage and crit on her and maybe speed. And if you see many people in Elite Arena using her like this, then it's probably the best. And not only one person. I have him as speed and health and HP. Some people are using, I think, heal, but it's not really good. It's yes, it gives you shield crit that he already has. Where is it? Heal crit. I don't see it here as a stat, but he's with this. He already has a strong shield, and I don't know. I just want him to survive a little bit longer, putting out more shields. I think that's better. And with speed, because he has this ability here, and besides that, here that gives him cloak and he cannot get stunned. That he will do more often being fast. He also has this here, I think. Yes, he makes people do a basic attack, and here with his passive, when he doesn't have a shield, he will gain a shield again, and if he has a shield, he will make someone assist him. So, him being fast, he pulls other people with higher damage than him to do basic attacks and assist him, and he gains more shields and protection from debuffs here. You can pull off more abilities, and here where it says when his allies use basic attacks a total of 4 times. I don't know if it counts Lex, I think it doesn't in his allies, but maybe it does. Lex charges up his armor and gains plus 10% damage reduction, and then it goes 12% up to maximum of 40. So you want your team around Lex to be fast. Maybe this even counts for Lex, and there's more of a reason to have him at speed, so he gains this damage reduction faster. So because otherwise someone can go quick against him and kill him before he gains it. So one more reason to have him as a speed. You also kind of want to have this into account. So this here gives more crits basically, like increase the crit chance, but also the crit damage. So you crit on her is nice. And as I said, you also want to take into account this. If you have him with Wonder Woman, it also gives more crit that you tend to have. Nightwing, as I said, he has a block that you want to have on him, and you see here I have those here with block, and HP because he's tanky and you want him to tank. Maybe I'm not really a fan of it, but he does a little bit of damage. Like damage or crits is not the worst on him, but no, you want him to be like a block and a health, especially if you have him with Ocean Master that you want to have him with. You want speed on Zatanna. It depends on how you do it, and I know definitely I'm gonna move around some and change some gear on characters, but it depends on skills and how you're using them. So I used to use Zatanna with Wonder Woman and Kid Flash and 2 tanks, and then you are lacking a little bit of damage on your team. Then Zatanna gets the extra frantic because he's the second person with from this one. She's the second highest attack, so she can crit, she can do a little bit of damage. Her ultimate does damage, so you kinda wanted to have in a team where you have 2 supports and 2 tanks and only 1 DPS. You want to have a little bit more help for your DPS, where was Wonder Woman, for them to do someone to assist with the damage a little bit. So I used to have her. She will also drain a little bit more because she does more damage, so will she drain back, and it's kind of similar to having health on her. But then you start having the problem, especially if you have more stars on her than other people that I do, that she has more attack than your second DPS besides Wonder Woman that you put with her. So she used to have more attack, let's say, than him, or than him. Now she's, as you see, she's barely less attack because I don't have attack on her. She's less attack than him, but he also has this that gives him attack to surpass her. So she was giving the frantic to herself and not to someone else that would hit more people. And you kinda, if you have 2 DPS with her, you have a lot of damage, and you kinda just want her to stay alive longer to keep out giving frantics. So then you put health on her and not damage. So you also change those here from attack to HP. And then you have her survive a little bit longer and give us more frantics because you already have more than enough damage. So speed, you definitely want her to give out more frantics and stuff, and then either damage or HP. Probably you'll go HP after if you run her with 2 DPS. Maybe crit, but not really. Like it's something similar than attack, and you can also have her with him that he gives crit, so it wouldn't be the worst to have crit on her, but I think those are the options for her. For Kid Flash, as I said, you can do heal, but I didn't really like him as heal. Damage does a because he heals here, heals equal to 85% of attack, he says. And here it heals equal to 195 of attack. And even the recuperate that it says here, it heals equal to 25% of attack. So he heals based on his attack. You kinda want to have attack on him, and it's a little bit extra that with his basic he will be doing a tiny bit more damage. But you may also want to swap him as HP health, just for him to stay alive longer. And I really like to have speed on him, so he heals a little bit more often. Yeah. Him, I have him as damage and speed. Haven't given him extremely too much thought. I think he gains some crit somewhere on his kit. Let me see. Well, he hits a little bit more. When dealing damage, if there are 2 enemies or fewer, increase crit of this instance of damage by 30%. I think he has somewhere on his kit also crit, so crit wouldn't be terrible for him. But also the bleeds are based on attack, and he puts out a lot of bleeds. So usually if you have someone and he doesn't gain crit from this, many DPS besides like Wonder Woman or Green Arrow, that he gains crit from this, or he gains crit from this and gives to some people. Besides those characters, yes, some of them have it here, have a little bit of crit or hit multiple people, so you can argue crit, but you kinda want to have attack because attack is for burn, for regeneration, for bleed. It's for. Is it also for? Let me see. It's also based on attack, poison. Is frostbite based on attack? Let me see. Yes, frostbite is based on attack. So most debuffs are based on attack. If they don't have crit, you kinda want to have 100% the extra 3% attack bonus than a chance to do more damage with a crit. Definitely crit is in the discussion for Deathstroke. Maybe you want to have crit instead of speed. I don't think it makes a massive difference in characters like this, but he also hits like multiple people. Like here, the bomb hits more people, and sword hits 2 times. Has a chance of dealing an additional basic attack. This uses altering weapon, so he will also use the bomb. So he's hitting some people. He's not always just hitting one person or hitting multiple times. but he also does bleeds that are based on attack. I don't know. I haven't experimented too much with Deathstroke, but I think that's the general vibe. And that's basically with every DPS: attack, crit, and speed. Some combination of them. And usually the two speed aren't always better for DPS. It's better to have them do more damage reliably than just go fast and maybe get an extra basic attack off. You just want to have their like. Ultimates and advanced attack hit harder. It's a block. His kit has a lot of things with a block. Let me see. Even this increases block. He has increases his block rate. This will for block that he has. This will give him crit damage reduction, and you use him with Ocean Master that you want to have a team that blocks a lot. So he's definitely block, and then health because HP bonus because he's in the front row, and as a tank you generally speaking want your tanks to have HP and maybe block in some situations, especially if they have only if you use them with Ocean Master or if it's on their kit, but speed more often. Besides like Blue Beetle and Nightwing, you want speed maybe as a secondary stat. Sometimes attack or something like this. I know Superman, many people are using him as speed, at least one of the two. I can't give a recommendation for Superman. His attack and speed can also go crit because he gains crit damage here, and sometimes you pair him with Atana. I like attack bonuses also with the recuperates that he puts out. They're based on attack, I think. The recuperates that he puts out on everyone, he heals them based on his attack. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's on the attack of other people. But you want him to. His kit is kind of weird, and you want the cooperates to keep healing people up. So you want attack for that. You want to have a. Because many times he may not go. I don't have, for example, in Elite Arena with Zatanna. It's not guaranteed that he's gonna crit, so just be sure that he does a little bit more damage and more recuperates. Speed also helps him use the recuperates a little bit faster, or your team put out ultimates a little bit faster. So maybe he can go faster than an opponent, use his ultimate, and remove a buff from them, so maybe they lose a strong attack or a frantic, and then they hit a little bit less hard. Batman hits multiple times, so I have him crit. I know many people have him crit and attack. Maybe this could go the opposite. He's very slow, but he doesn't benefit too much from like usually you use speed with characters because you want to do something like an extra ability that is important to go faster, like Zatanna put out frantic before your teammates use their ultimates or even like their advanced attacks, so they drain or they do more damage or both. Batman kinda his role is to do a lot more damage on one character. He hits multiple times, so he's likely to crit. As a strength character here, as a mighty character, you can sometimes you have him with Wonder Woman, especially in the challenge here in the Convergence in Metropolis. So Wonder Woman gives her teammates a little bit of crit damage. So that's a tiny consideration why I have him crit. I know he hits a lot of times. He basically more likely will crit on someone, and you also have damage. Maybe you can do the opposite. I haven't really seen anyone have something different than damage and crits on Batman, but maybe I don't even know to give a different I don't really find a good argument to make him speed. Maybe if you know what you're doing and him doing a basic a little bit faster helps you do a ultimate a little bit faster. I don't know. I wouldn't be completely opposed to that. To have him as speed, or you have him with a Constantine a lot, and because he's a little bit faster, he recuperates and stays alive. But generally speaking, crit and damage, or maybe have them opposite. He health 100%. He's on the front row. Don't see too much argument for block, but maybe you have him with a Ocean Master and have the Ocean Master's like team synergy active, and you want him to have here like block, for example, or even the last stat like here he also has it like block to have it activated, but you kind of want him to go a little bit faster for your team to move. His basic attack does an armor break, which is nice, so he puts out a little bit more debuffs, but you also have him here having damage reduction for his first 2 rounds. So I originally had him with 2 speed, and he's better with 1 speed and 2 HP. I'm not really sure that I want to have him speed. Yes, he's on a debuff team that you kind of want him to throw more debuffs out there with his basic. But this will also negatively affect this, so he will reach his first 2 rounds faster if you have speed on him. He's kinda slow. I know that you want to have more abilities go out, so I'm not sure. I haven't experimented with something else too much, but tanks want to beat health, that's for sure. I have him crit because he gains crit here, and the way he plays out, he also hits multiple times, and he gets frantic by himself besides Zatanna and bullets that increases the crit damage. So you kinda want him, the way I use him, you kinda want him to throw an ultimate off when he revives, and then maybe another ultimate and turn the match around and do a lot of damage. So you kinda, I don't know, I kinda want him to crit then and do a lot of damage, don't do reliable damage, and I kinda want him to be a little bit faster so your team throws out more ultimates. I would definitely consider having him, like, instead of speed, have a damage, maybe 4 damage and 2 crits. I think those are what you play around with Red Hood. I kind of think you want to have him crit though, because he also gains crits, and he has a lot of stuff with crit. He's basically, and you throw him very often with Zatanna. I think he will crit, and you kind of want to have him pass. I originally had him at 4 speed, because this will give him another plus 12 speed, which is nice. And I have had 2 crit on him, but it wasn't better than now. I made him 4 crit and 2 speed, and it's better. So maybe removing the 2 speed and making them damage will make him better, or maybe you will get out less ultimates that way. And one also thing that I think is nice to have him as a speed is that he revives after 2 turns when he dies. So I think it's his turns, and him having speed stat will make him reach these 2 turns faster. So that's a big reason I also have him as speed, and I started with 4 speed. I thought your team will go faster and throw an ultimate, because that's the way the scene plays, especially in Arena, with Wonder Woman and Zatanna and Lex, that also is a lot of speed, stat, and calls in assist. So they go very fast and kill people, and he dies, he revives, and he kills the person that revived him, that killed him. So that was the reasoning around that Hood. I might experiment with damage at some point, but I kinda like him this way now. Uh, Green Arrow, I have him crit because he gains a lot of crit here, and he can go with Red Hood in some situations. Uh, so he gains a lot of crit, he hits many people multiple times, but he doesn't get crit here. And I have him speed, so your team throws out a little bit more ultimates. Maybe you can have 2 damage on him, definitely is an argument to be made with Green Arrow. Robin, it's kind of like Batman, but he has the back row, not the front row. I don't really see too much argument for speed, but maybe. He hits multiple times, even here, to random enemies. So he hits many people, but also he puts a lot of blitz. So maybe 4 damage and 2 crit, because he's putting out a little bit more. No, here I have attack. He puts out more bleeds that benefit a little more than Batman from. He benefits a little more than Batman from having attack, especially if you have him for some reason with this team synergy, and there's also more bleed damage. I don't know. I don't use him too much recently, but yeah. For her, you want to have speed, absolutely, because she revives people every 4 turns, so you want her to take the turns fast and revive again someone else. And she also puts out debuffs, and you want her to basic more, to throw out more debuffs. She also has a little bit of drain, and her doing more basics will help a little bit. That was an argument that maybe you can have some damage. Originally had 2 damage instead of 2 health for her, or even 2 crit, but I kinda want her because her revive is based on her HP. At the moment she revives someone, I want her to have more HP, so the revived person has more HP, and she stays alive to revive someone. She doesn't die. She's kind of squishy as she is. She's not the tankiest character of all, so I have 2 HP on her, and I have those HP, and I think it's better than attack. Also, you use her at the final boss for the Alliance event, and then here, like Hall of Justice, and here I think Steppenwolf is, or is he here? Yes. He kills the person on your team that does the most damage, so you don't want her to do a lot of damage because you want her to stay alive and revive people, generally speaking. So if you are 100% sure that your teammates will keep doing more damage, even if you have 2 damage on her, maybe you have a little bit extra damage with that, and also she puts out debuffs that benefit from damage, all of them. And she drains a little bit, she has a little bit of drain, so damage will just help a little bit stay alive. It's basically with Windows. You definitely have 4 speed and maybe 2 damage or 2 HP. Also, many characters are dependent on how big you have them or how big you have your teammates. So she's not the biggest right now, and you want to have HP bonus. If you have her bigger and her teammates all did more damage consistently, maybe you had a little bit more damage for her. You had to attack. She hits multiple people. Poison benefits from attack. Maybe you could do 4 attack and 2 crit. I always had the 2 crit, and she also gets crit damage here. I always had her 4 crit and 2 attack. Ocean Master, he does very decent damage with his. He does a lot of counterattacks. And he puts out bleeds with his ultimate that based on his attack. So if you have him big, you want to have him attack and block, because he has this here with block. but if you have him small or you want to have him on the front row, that many people do, and he's kind of nice for the front row. It's better, and he's kind of small. It's better to have a 3 HP bonus than a 3 attack bonus, and this will help him stay alive longer, and you're not really based too much on his counterattacks. Then you're a little bit more based on other people doing damage and him staying alive, putting out more attack, giving more attack stats on your teammates if they have, if your team blocks. Yeah, you kind of want him to stay alive longer than if he's to die, then you put more health on him, or if you have him on a front row. But if I have him very big, I will probably make those two instead of HP. I will make them attack. But you could also argue speed. I know he does like a basic here, put out weekend, that then he can use with his ultimate to put out bleeds. So I could imagine him being speed, and especially having this piece here with block would be nice. Yeah, he has a tank in the front row. I have him in speed. Now I go into characters that I'm not using too much. And speed, so he goes faster into this. And if he raises his umbrella, he will also put out more poison, being faster. But then he will put out his umbrella faster, but he will also put it down faster until you have him at level 30 here. I don't know if I'm ever gonna bring him. Then he will keep his umbrella up. So if he has the umbrella, his back row will do more damage. They will do more poison damage. If you have him with poison ivy, they will give them damage reduction in the back row. So you want him to have his advanced attack go off faster, is my understanding, where people have him speed and throw out maybe a little bit more poisons. Maybe your team gets to do an ultimate faster and he also can heal using his ultimate. And definitely HP as he's in the front row. I don't, he doesn't feel enough tanky for me to make him like 4 speed. I don't really see the argument for 2 block. Heal because he healed himself with his ultimate. I don't really see that argument either. I know some people have him in the front row, and then you can do more HP on him. He also, I don't know for what reason, many people have him as, some people have him as block. I know definitely speed because he can put out here silence if he goes faster than the opponents, and attack because he puts out bleeds and he's in the background. You want him to help a little bit with attacks. I recently thought maybe I'm gonna put the 2 here, make them and speed to have more abilities go off in general. I recently thought to replace those 2, make them HP just so he can survive a little bit longer and maybe reach the place where he can put out more silence or stay alive, so his teammates can put out more ultimates. I'm not 100% sure. I know his bleed is not too bad and he does some damage, but also have him ult very late in the game, so I'm kind of considering also putting him at HP. Bane heals based on his attack with his ultimate. This also heals him based on his attack. Increase healing bonus and attack. So that's why you have him Bane as attack plus health. so he can heal a bit more. And those are all the characters. I know I had speed on him at some point and HP because you want him to stay alive in for like 4 HP and 2 speed because he puts out some debuffs. And you're gonna want him to put out more. And he does some damage. This does some damage. If you really have him built, I'm not the person to give recommendation on him. I don't have him used for a while, but some people have damage on him, and this also does damage, and he has some drain, so maybe damage and HP is also an argument. Besides that, I haven't really used the characters here. As I said, you can. I recommend around the characters that I have used, and as you saw for the last characters, maybe I haven't tested too much. Then you go here and you check the characters that you want to see, and you also read the kits. So, but as a rule of thumb, my understanding is you put like HP and health on your supports. You put a damage crit or speed on your DPS, and you put HP and speed on your tanks, unless they are in the block team. Yeah,